going on, everybody? Welcome to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I'm Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris 183. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's Rocktober. And you know what that means, or maybe you don't know what that means, because if you don't know what that means, I'll tell you. That means that we're going to be talking about bands, specifically albums that tie into the genre of rock. And for this week, we threw it back to our patrons. We wanted to come up with an album that tied into, this theme, and I could have picked my own, but I wanted to let you guys pick first. You guys out there in Patreon land. And Steve, we got a lot of different options, but we felt like the one we picked was the best one.
Yeah, and thanks to Jason for suggesting this one. This was his suggestion, which was chosen. But you should intro this, because this is, it's your pick, it's his pick, it's everybody's pick.
Yeah, and I will thank everybody else for throwing in their picks too, and we've actually marked those down for potential future episodes. I like them all. I just like this one the best for this time. And yeah, so what we did choose was an album by a band that I don't think we've covered yet on this show at all.
We should have.
We should have, and we've definitely talked about them. And to preface that, it's a band that maybe I haven't given the most respect to over the course of the how many years we've been doing this. But without further ado, it's Linkin Park, and today we're going to be covering the album Minutes to Midnight. And I'll tell you what, Steve, so again, prefacing this, I'm not the biggest Linkin Park fan. That's not to say that I'm not the biggest Linkin Park music fan, because I've never disliked anything Linkin Park. I just haven't been a big fan of theirs. So that said, when I heard Minutes to Midnight, I didn't know what album that was or what was on it. How about you?
I did. So at first, when you're like, let's do Minutes to Midnight, I'm like, I kind of wish if we were going to do Linkin Park, we would have done like any of the other prior albums. Like to me, Hybrid Theory and Meteora were, I'm a big Linkin Park fan. I'll get into that, my history in a second. But I'm like, at first I was like, man, like I feel like we should have done Linkin Park, but not this album. And then when I read through the track list and started listening to it, I was like, no. This is totally fine. This is going to be just fine. I think you even talked me off the ledge. You're like, no, this one is good. And this one is good. So I am cool with it. Although my initial reaction was, why not Hybrid Theory or Meteora? And, to Jason's credit here, Hybrid Theory and Meteora were a little bit kind of that, like, a little more nu metal-ish kind of sound, where this one is kind of more rock. So I think maybe it makes sense.
I think so too. I was going to pose the question, man. At this point in time in 07, I believe, what was Linkin Park? Were they nu metal? Were they something else? Were they evolving? And you're right. Like the sound did evolve. This was not a nu metal album whatsoever. Like no. There was residue from potential, nu metal songs and some things that were mixed in, and they don't really lose the sound that is Linkin Park, and we'll talk about that. But overall, there's a mixture of all different kinds of things here, and you got everything from metal to hard driving rock to softer stuff. So they really mix it in here, and you being a bigger fan, Steve. Did you go beyond this album? Do you know where they went from here?
Yeah, somewhat. I'm not a fan of after this. Basically, I remember back in, I don't know, I guess it was the year 2000. I was just literally in Tower Records. I don't think maybe One Step Closer had hit the radio, maybe not. But I was at Tower Records, and there was this like big display, and they have like cool fonts and the cover for Hybrid Theory. Like they had this I don't know, this big cardboard thing, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I listened to it and decided to buy it, or maybe I just bought it, because I kind of used to do that every now and then back then. And I'm like, I'm just going to buy this. And I got Hybrid Theory, and I was a fan of rap. I was like a middle fan of like new metal, not like super hard rock or super metal. But when I listened to Hybrid Theory, I was like, this is fucking cool. And I remember anytime I would be in like a bad mood or angry, I would put this on and it would just like fuel my fire. And in college, I lived in a fraternity house for a couple of years, and there was one or two guys in the fraternity house that were big audiophiles, right? So even in those small rooms, they had some big ass speakers and some subwoofers, and there were a handful of albums that got played at ridiculous volumes, and Linkin Parks were of those, and it was mostly. I think it was mostly Meteora, and actually it was more Reanimation when they did that those remixes, and they did a remix with Jay-Z. So we would just get stoned and listen to this like at full blast, and I was a huge fan of Linkin Park. Hybrid Theory, Meteora, Minutes to Midnight is a 3-album run by this band that is absolutely spectacular, and after that, not so good. After this one, really not so good. I would challenge folks who are listening to tell me a song off of A Thousand Suns, Living Things, The Hunting Party, maybe One More Light. That was the last album before Chester tragically committed suicide. And maybe people would know the newer stuff, right? So they came out with a new album From Zero with a new lead singer, and but after Minutes to Midnight, it was like the stock just fucking crashed, like horrible downhill. And that's just my opinion. I'd be curious as to other people who'd followed Linkin Park throughout the years if they thought the same. But yeah, really bad. That last album before Chester met his demise was bad. It was bad. It was like Linkin Park was trying to be like Linkin Pop. And it was, other than the lyrics are tragically sad. And you read the lyrics and you're like, wow, how do we not know that Chester was like in big trouble? And there's some of that on this record too, for sure. Probably every record. But no, 2000 to 2007-ish was peak Linkin Park, if you ask Wingman Steve.
And you listen to these later albums, you're saying.
I've given each one of them at least a listen or two, and okay, sometimes a listen or two is enough to be like, I don't need to listen to this anymore.
Got it. Yeah, I didn't think you were going to make that claim without listening to it. I haven't listened to them, so I can't really speak to it. I'm sure there's some people out there that are into that, super fans, whatever, right? There's music for everybody, but I get it. I think that, when you think about this band, you summed it up well with what people probably gravitate towards. I will say the scene that you described is kind of like a meme if you think about, the early 2000s, frat house blasting Linkin Park. I mean, if I go back to the early 2000s and I go to a college campus, I guarantee that's something that I would assume I would come across at least once. If I had a bingo card and that was on it, like Linkin Park blasting from somewhere, I would definitely get that square for sure. But that's the times that we lived in then, and this was definitely a popular band with some really popular albums. But 2007 was a little bit later, and as we said, they evolved their sound a little bit and moved away from that new metal. And I was a fan of new metal, but not just kind of like you. I was more like I liked Limp Bizkit. I'll admit it here. I was a big Limp Bizkit fan. I didn't really get into too much more than that, but ultimately, I don't know. I never really gave Linkin Park a chance. I wanted to get into that real quick, so I don't know why. Like I don't know what may have turned me off from really like starting to go out, purchase their albums, listen to them more. I was just fine with listening to what they had on the radio, and that was it. Like that was good enough for me at the time. I didn't need more Linkin Park. I felt like what I got on MTV, what I got on the radio was just enough, and that was it. So
it's like me with Weezer,
I guess. And I feel like they're the caliber of a band that if you do that, because let's be honest, I think anybody that even remotely is a fan of rock music or this type of music can't argue that Linkin Park can make an amazing song and makes mostly amazing lyrical, instrumental, backing track mixture songs that sound good. Like they're able to put all that together and make, for the most part, radio friendly songs, friendly in the way that it has that catchy melody. Like you can pretty much, just get into anything, almost anything they have, because they put together such a good track. So that said, like if you're only going to be a tertiary fan like I was, potentially you're missing out on some really good music. You're missing out on some decent stuff that you would never hear because it's just not on the radio.
Did you ever
Um,
listen to the Jay-Z Linkin Park mashup record? It's called Collision Course.
yeah, I don't know if I listened to it front to back, but definitely, the one that crashes. Oh, what's the song?
There's Numb and Encore.
It's Numb. It's Numb is the one that I always hear all the time.
Yeah, it's only 6 tracks, but we listened to that a whole lot. Reanimation was actually, they took, I think, the entire Meteora record and maybe they took everything prior and they just did remixes of their own shit.
Mhm.
Again, high volume, blasted, stoned. But I really like this one. Was the Jay-Z one was in like 2004. And yeah, they killed it. There's Dirt Off Your Shoulder with Lying From You. Then there's Big Pimpin' and Paper Cut, Gigawatt and Faint, and Numb and Encore, Izzo and In the End, and then
Yep.
Points of Authority, 99 Problems, and One Step Closer.
See, I love
good.
all that. I love all that. I love all that. I think it was that's a. I have to listen to that again, honestly, because
Yeah,
I haven't.
I really want to go listen to. Can we like just end this? We'll go listen to that real quick together, and then we'll just do this episode on that.
I'd like to. Look, I told you this before. I was a huge Jay-Z fan. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, wow, that's awesome. So, that was another maybe wake up call to, hey, why are you ignoring this band? I don't know. And I just kept ignoring them. Again, Steve, I don't have nothing against Linkin Park. I don't think they're bad at all. I actually get into their music. I just didn't listen to them.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. I got to see him a couple of times. I think I saw him twice. Once they played in State College. They played with Mudvayne and Exhibit. That's an interesting opening act. And then I saw them in the Philly area, actually in Camden in 2012. They played with Incubus. So I remember that concert in particular because it was pouring rain and the outdoor amphitheater is kind of on an incline and it was very muddy and slippery. I remember I went to the beer tent and asked them for a Ziploc bag. I was concerned about my cellular device and it getting wet, but we stayed for the whole show and had a good time.
Did the beer tent have a Ziploc bag?
Yeah. Yeah. They gave me, so I don't know, it could have maybe been saran wrap. They gave me something that was usable.
I thought you were going to say you wanted a Ziploc bag because you wanted your beer to go.
that would make it difficult to drink out of, but no. I just needed to keep my cell phone dry. That's what my main concern was.
Gotcha. I don't think I saw this band live. So you go on. I don't have much to say here because I never saw them live.
No, they're really good live, and they only did they're doing a quote unquote world tour, but they only did a handful of dates, 6-8 dates in the U.S. They were super expensive, giant arenas, and they're in this new phase of the band. I wouldn't like not want to see them, but I probably wouldn't go like above and beyond. Like I'm not going to pay $300 to see Linkin Park with their new singer, but from what I've seen and read, it's a good time. Linkin Park also has a very near and dear place in my heart because I have done karaoke to the song In the End no less than 100 times on a stage. No less than 100 times. I had 2 different friends. I would always do the Chester part, and a couple different friends, they would do the Mike Shinoda part, and I've done that so many times. So I love Linkin Park. They're awesome.
Is it so you did the Chester part. I'm sure you did it justice, but that's not easy to do.
That one I can do perfect. The problem is, I remember I used to go in college. I used to go to this one karaoke bar every week on Wednesdays, and some other guy was like, "I want to do Numb. Will you sing that one with me?" And I went up there, and there was no chance that I could do that song. There is no, no way. I tried, but it was a horrible failure. And then I was like, nope, I'm sticking to In the End only.
Yeah. I mean that. So that was the other thing I wanted to bring up was the voices here. So you know, I gotta say, Chester's voice. Is it one of the most unique deliveries that you've heard? Like, I think it is.
It's amazing. I kind of would maybe want to take my comments and just stick in my pocket when we're talking about specific songs and bring it out, but you're absolutely correct. It is
I'm just
unique and it is
overall,
fantastic.
just
Yes.
overall, like I think he has one of the most unique voices of all time, and the things that he can do with that voice and when we get into the songs, I'm sure there'll be details that are tied to that, but it's amazing what he's able to do and how I cannot emulate that no matter how hard I try and how much I
One
push, it just
thing I
doesn't
don't
work.
know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try.
That's on him, right? That's
That's Shinoda, but
that's Shinoda.
that's a little joke there.
He's the one that I always want to be because I don't have to worry about it then. It's
Well,
just
if you ever
easy.
want to go to karaoke and you want to do In the End, I'm in. I got
Mhm.
Chester, you got Mike Shinoda.
Okay, but we're doing numb.
Oh, no thank you. I pass.
Well,
That's all Chester. That's all
just
Chester, I
just
think.
practice. Well, I could like pretend like I could pretend like I'm on the twos and threes and behind you. Isn't that what?
You're Mr. Han?
Mm-hmm. I
That's
could
their
just do
DJ.
that. Well, what does Mike do whenever there's a song that he doesn't sing? He plays a guitar.
Mike
He,
does play
he,
guitar. He plays piano. He does background vocals. Johan, Mr. Han, they call him. He's on the turntables. You got Dave Farrell on bass, Brad Delson on guitar, and Rob Borden on drums.
how many people's that?
That's 6.
Yeah, because if you look at the album for this album, the album art, I should say, for this album, Minutes to Midnight, there are 6 people on the beach standing there, so that makes sense.
That's
It's a
them.
lot of people. It's a lot of people in a band, isn't it?
They got a lot going on, dude. There's a lot there. And again, I understand that there are famous DJs out there, but to have like a DJ as a main member of a rock band is incredibly unique. It's not something that I know of. Even if there is a DJ or somebody putting in effects and stuff like that, usually they're not highlighted as like a credited member of the band. These guys just, I don't know. They broke through a wall. They broke through and did something nobody ever did. Nobody ever, like, I mean, I don't know. Did Aerosmith and Run DMC do something of this vein with their remix of Walk This Way? Maybe. But nobody, to my mind, ever mixed hard rock, almost metal, new metal, whatever it is, with rap and turntables. And that's why they're just so unique. And I'm a huge fan. Always was.
But wait a minute. So just that conversation right there, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but wasn't that what new metal was though? What you just described?
I don't know. Was it?
Because think
Is
about
that the same thing that like Limp Bizkit did? I mean,
did
I
you
guess they did have turntables and stuff like that, and he did some rapping.
did you listen to $3 Bill? Like, was that an album you had by Limp
Is
Bizkit?
that the one with Nook? I had 2. I definitely had
No,
chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water, which is the one that was after, I think, the one with Nookie, right? Which
correct.
was called what?
Oh man, I knew this like the back of my hand. It's called dude. I can't believe I'm embarrassed.
All right. It's going to the internet. Significant other.
Yeah.
I had
$3
significant
bill was
other.
before that. $3 bill had Faith on it, and it had a bunch of other songs. But if you didn't have it, you might not know that one.
No, I definitely got in. I owned significant other. I like Limp Bizkit. I'm just looking at the tracks here. Definitely liked a lot of these, and then I definitely bought the follow up, which was chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water, which is just such a ridiculous title that I'll never forget it. Which I also thought was pretty good. I was never like a diehard fan. I mean, maybe they did do it first, but they certainly weren't like.
Uh,
Were they as hard as Linkin Park? I don't know.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah. Like listen to if you ever get a chance, and it might not be your style of music, but listen to $3 Bill, y'all. And there's definitely like metal. there's rap, there's the turntables. It's smoothed out a little bit when you got to the second album that I forgot again. I just forgot it instantly. What's
Significant
the name?
Other.
Yeah, Significant Other. When you get to that, they got a little bit more radio friendly, but no, this first album was definitely right along the lines of what you said. So but you know it was rapping a little bit different. Like Fred Durst is not Mike, and it's a different delivery, but it's similar in that vein. But anyway, so I get your point. I think that you still make a good point. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there that that's kind of what this rap rock movement was through and through, and even starting with Korn. I mean, you think about that, like that wasn't straight up rap or hip hop, but there were elements of that involved with Korn as well.
Yeah,
So,
elements, not as much. I
mhm.
was I was gonna make a minor point and see if you might. I always got the impression that like Limp Bizkit was like all like kind of trying to be funny with a lot of their stuff, whereas I don't know. I felt like Linkin Park was just very serious.
Yeah, again, I think that they got further along that, like towards that, when you get into City of Another, and then the Chocolate Starfish. But once again, like their original album, while it had overtones, and I get that, I think it was still a little bit more serious and maybe more of what you're talking about. So
Let me see. Do I know any of these songs?
I don't think you
Probably not.
do. I think you would
I
need
mean, I
to.
know Faith, but
Yeah,
then again, they're covering George Michael, which in a lot of ways is kind of just it's funny in the fact they're doing it and doing that in this new way, you know.
these are very hard, like hard driving songs with that, the turntables and a rap element to it. So I loved it immediately. Like when I got this album, $3 Bill, and we're not even talking about this, but I'm just saying, when I got this album, it was really good. Like I loved it immediately, and I that's kind of what made me fall in love with Limp Bizkit at the time, and so on and so forth. But I think Linkin Park does this type of thing, but they always have that melody that hooks the radio audience, that can
Yes.
bring in that group, and they do it so good. So I think that's where they're a little bit different in their delivery.
Put this in your pocket, Chris. New Metal November 2026,
That's fine.
7.
It works.
Actually, we haven't worked out November. We'll see. New Metal November, maybe coming soon, maybe coming later.
Maybe. Well, we have an album to talk about here, Steve.
We do. Minutes to Midnight by Linkin Park was released on May 14th in 2007. So I was graduated from college. I was a real life adult by this point. It was put out on Warner Brothers Records, produced by Rick Rubin and Mike Shinoda together. I mean, these are some behemoths of the production world. Again, it's kind of touted as their departure a little bit from nu metal, but we'll talk about that. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. It sold more than 4 million copies. It's 5 times certified platinum. So
Wow.
this is a super commercial success. I would say 2007 is probably the tail end of people still buying CDs, the beginning of maybe the digital era. But I think this one got its true record sales. I don't have that data, but that's what I would think.
Do you think that any songs off of this album make the top 5 in Spotify streams of Linkin Park songs?
Well, so I know there's 5 singles. I'm not looking at that information. I know there's 5 singles that were released on this record. I think that so top 5 overall, or that thing where you're only looking at the most recent.
Popular.
I think overall, what I've done is probably up there.
So in terms of actual streams, what I've done is number 3.
Gotcha.
Just make sure I'm not seeing this wrong. So
They try and
what
trick
I've
you.
done, what I've done has over 1 billion streams. 1 billion.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so Faint has over 1 billion. I don't know what Faint is. Do you know what that song is?
Oh, absolutely. I don't. sometimes with them with the titles, I couldn't picture to my head, but yes, I definitely know Faint. I mean, In
One
the End is probably number one.
One Step Closer has 1 billion, but still less than what I've done. The only two that looks like they eclipse that are Numb, which makes sense, and which has 2 billion and almost 2.5 billion, and In the End has 2.8 billion streams.
Yeah.
That is nuts. But Somewhere I Belong is number 3 on this list at 840
They
million
also have
streams.
like, Paper Cut. Like they have some huge, like they have a lot of really strong tracks over these 3 albums. After that, not so much.
No, but okay. So we're not talking about those. We're talking about this one. But I just thought that was interesting. It's very rare that we see billions of streams, though.
No, these guys got it.
Nuts.
I have Faint in the background. It might be Faint.
Oh,
yeah, you know that one.
Yeah, I know that one. Yep.
Okay, we gotta cut that off before we get sued.
One second away.
Yeah, that's even better. So, Minutes to Midnight, I was, again, very much, I don't know if Linkin Park has a terminology for their fans, but I was a Linkin Park head, Linkin Parker. Absolutely. So, I don't remember the physical purchase of the CD, but I would assume that I would have purchased it the absolute day that it came out. And I think that I was probably pretty surprised. So let's get into it. Let's wake up and start with the intro track, which is called Wake.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's an intro track. It builds the anticipation for the album. If you were a fan of Linkin Park, prior to this album, and you picked this one up, I think this one gets you going. It definitely builds that anticipation. It gets you excited for the album itself. It's a solid instrumental, and I think it gets us ready for the sound that we're going to hear. So I'm always a guy that appreciates a good instrumental track to kick off the album. What about you, Steve?
Hit or miss, on and off. I would say it depends. Most likely, I like to start something. I like to go right into a track. However, this instrumental, not a ton to say about it, but it definitely has like the sentiment of kind of wake. As an intro to the album, this waking up and starting anew, the whole sentiment to it and what they're calling it, I think worked really well. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it was particularly a long intro, so it didn't bother me at all that this was the first track.
Nope. Yep. So what do you think about that transition into the actual first track?
Oh, dude, as the first full track, like this is a fucking awesome way to kick off an album. And I know you hate clapping, but I would think maybe this could be an exception to your rule. I mean, that quick pace clapping into that gritty guitar lick, which just rips. And then, I mean, in this song, it's called Given Up. I don't know if we said that. We get the absolute pinnacle, the best of Chester. We get the low voice kind of plodding verses into the screaming chorus. I've given up. Like he just goes nuts. You have in this one, if you're a fan of the first 2 records and you like more of the heavy screaming, they have a crazy screaming bridge. Put me out of my misery. Put me out of my fucking misery. I mean, to me, this song kind of has it all.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the lyrics are a little haunting, right? When you think about how everything kind of turned out for him. A lot of the songs on here are very interesting when you actually read the lyrics. They're tied to real life scenarios that are something you can reflect on based on Chester and his mental state and everything.
It's really
else.
sad.
It really is. It really is. But I think that on the upside of all this, like the music, you're right. Like it's just spot on. It's just spot on. And it starts with this track. I mean, the upbeat, nature of this track is perfect. I didn't hear clapping, by the way. I thought that was drumming, but that's because I probably Probably just tuned out clapping in my head
Flip the
and
switch
think
in your head.
I think it's just drums, so we're just gonna go with that.
It's like a Black Mirror thing. You have an implant in your head, and all clapping sounds like something else.
Sounds like something else. Sounds like humming or yodeling. I do think that this follows the Linkin Park formula of the calm verse and the loud chorus, but that's okay, right? That's what we come here. That's why we come to the show, right? And that's what we want to hear. We want to hear Chester whisper during the verse and explode during the chorus. And he does an amazing job with that. You've already commented on his vocals. Such a strong vocal here. And I totally agree with everything you said. The guitar here, once again, that hard driving guitar really sells me, especially with that lead guitar riff. You gave it you said it ripped. I think you said something else, but I just love it. Right? I think that was really what makes this song is that lead guitar riff that permeates the entire track. And the lyrics again, very simple, somewhat dark, a little bit uncomfortable in a lot of ways, but man, does that fit this track. Like everything that he says and how he sings it just weaves in perfectly with everything else that I described musically. So what a great opening track.
Yeah, I think my thought is this: the world was a bit enthralled with Linkin Park, and they came off as this, angry, loud, disruptive band. And, I don't know that, I mean, I was not sitting there like delving into the lyrics and exactly what he was saying. I didn't even do that really until that last album that they recorded, which I hated. And then after he passed, I said to myself, and you can say that to yourself with Giving Up. You can say that to yourself with Leave Out All the Rest. We'll get into that. But like, how do we not see that? Like, how did the world not see that this guy had issues? And it's there. It's there in paper if you look at it. Because I would just sing along with the song and like be angry, tell me what the fuck is wrong with me, and just go at it. But there's like, I don't know, deep trauma in a lot of his lyrics, and it's very apparent, unfortunately, at this point in time. But it's there all along.
My only commentary on that is that how would we really know? We don't know. We didn't know him, and I guess if you knew him as a person, that's different. But as people that were just listening to the music, because we didn't really know him, I mean, bands sing about stuff all the time that they don't necessarily take literally, or it's not really a reflection on themselves. They just like to talk about certain subjects and get awareness out there about things. So while I don't discredit your thoughts, I think that it's really hard to judge those things in hindsight because we just don't know. Like it's really hard to know that because we don't know the person. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
I'm saying now you can look back on it and be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
these signs were there all along.
Sure.
We didn't realize
Sure.
it then. I didn't, whoever, fans didn't. You're right. We don't know him as a person.
No. I mean, you don't, and we don't even know at this point in time. Was this something that was in his mind? Was he thinking about that? Had it not started? Like we don't know any of that, right? I don't anyway. Maybe other people out there do, but
Well, into the next song, this is a perfect transition.
yeah, definitely. This is the softer side of Linkin Park here, and they knock these songs out of the park too. They can do these perfectly. They have that haunting sound. They have that amazing mix, the backing track, the music. It all adds to a really haunting sound. And I think the lyrics, again, a foreboding, haunting feeling to them. I didn't read them word for word, but when I did listen to what I listened to, I think it definitely feeds into that comment. And I think the other thing about this song to me is this is more of a lyrically driven song. Like I think it's constructed so you listen to what Chester's saying. I think the music is a backdrop, but the lyrics and the way that he's singing is what they want you to focus on here. So it's great in that way because he does such a good job taking you from A to B through this story, through this like mellow message of whatever it is he's trying to talk about. But That's pretty much my take on this. Steve, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, let's just look at the tracking in this album so far. On number 3, we have a intro, killer fast song, and a slower, like ballady song, which is it's just perfect, man. They just knock it out of the park. The instrumentals, you're totally right. I mean, it's a vocally driven song, but the instrumentals in the background are so like nice but super intense. And what an awesome, heartfelt chorus on this one. And again, hindsight is 2020, but I mean, you listen to these words, and these words you can hear because, like you said, it's vocally driven. They make you feel his pain, man. He's when my time comes, forget the wrongs that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me when you're feeling empty. Keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. I mean, he's like writing his fucking eulogy. It's sad. It's powerful. And this comes off as a song that anybody could just sing along with it, and it could be on the radio, and it could be, a big hit. This was a single. It was the fifth one off of this record. The last one, Given Up, that was their fourth single. I don't think either of these two got, as big as maybe those first three, which we're going to get into soon. But this is a powerful song at number 3, a great ballad for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Steve. Keep it going.
All right. So Bleed It Out was the second single here. And the beginning to this song just pumps you up so fucking hard. This is the first time that we really hear Mike Shinoda on this album. If you don't know Mike Shinoda, he's the guy who plays guitar and raps, and he just fucking kills it. I don't know if you Black Mirror took it out of your brain, but there's way more clapping on here. I kind of played this song. I played this album when I was in the car with my daughter, and she actually really liked it. But I had to cover up or tell her to ignore some of the cursing. But I think the cursing is great in this one. The chorus is simple, but it is super infectious. This whole "I bleed it out, digging deeper, just throw it away, just repeat." Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. This is more of the classic Mike Shinoda, Chester, Linkin Park, where most of the album is more rock. I feel like this is more of kind of a little bit more of their classic sound. Musically, we have the guitar riff, these basic drums. We got piano. It's pretty simple, but it's super powerful. I think "Bleed It Out" is a big one.
It is a big one. It's a great single. It's a great track. Upbeat. You got to love that beat, though. I think that's what makes it here is just that constant go, go, go of the song. You're right. Everything you said, like, that the mic rap at the beginning is sets the tone. Chester does, the chorus. That's simplistic chorus, but it has so much impact when he comes in and talks about bleeding it out. Man, it's like you could play this. This is one of those songs that you could play 5 times in a row and never get tired of it, I think.
It's a shorter song, and it's like you feel like you could maybe even want more.
Like I think this even is a great song. If you think about like you playing this at your frat house, I could hear the song at a party, right? You have a party of a bunch of people there. Like this is a song you could throw on and everybody would have a great time, dance to it. Like there's nothing bad about this track at all. I think it's perfect. I think that I could listen to it today with no problem. It definitely stands the test of time. And yeah, I mean, look, again, it's simple, but it's very impactful. And there was one thing musically that I thought was worth touching on. I like, so what I really liked about this song musically was that high pitched guitar line, and then at some point in time, like over that, you hear the bass come in predominantly. So
yeah, I hear it in my head while you're saying it.
It's a really cool like introduction to that bass line that hits you, and I really like that part a lot. So there's so much good stuff here. I think it was a great track.
And since this is High School Never Ends, let's just make a quick comparison, right? A Tom DeLonge song is great. A Mark Hoppus song is great. But when you put them both in the same song, it takes it to the next level. It's the same concept with Mike and Chester.
Yeah, I mean, even though I do like my Tom DeLonge songs, I do. I
said both are great.
Mhm.
They're all great. When you put them together, I feel like it's just that extra level, that extra oomph to it.
Yeah, no question. No question. Well, then we have this little track called Shadow of the Day, Steve. Have you heard of it?
I have heard it many times, and actually, when I was playing this album on my drive with my daughter, she recognized the song. She's like, I know this song. I'm like, you do? How do you know this song? And apparently, she does. Maybe there's a dance to it, like we found out there was to Papa Roach. I
To
have no idea.
Scars by Papa Roach. Yeah, it was. I mean, look, if this was on like a Disney show, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll tell you what, though, like what a this track to me is timeless. It's amazing. This is not hyperbole either. Like I really do like this track. Every time it comes on, I'll tell you what. Like I told you I'm a radio Linkin Park guy, but man, like when this one comes on randomly in a mix I never turn it off. I think this one is so good. Like the melody to this is infectious. Not an impactful word because we use it a lot, but it just is. Like it's a song that I can't turn off. It sounds so good, and even though it's not hard driving and I have my type of music I like, man, does it not matter here, guys. This is from front to back. I think one of my favorites Linkin Park tracks out there, and it it's everything. It's you gotta love the synth, like that backing track is amazing. You gotta love the bass, the bass line over the track. I think that's worth calling out. You gotta love Chester and his range and the melody here. The fact that he's able to just belt this out, stay at a level, but continue that amazing melody throughout the whole song. The chorus is just spot on memorable. It's just one of those just bigger than life choruses to me. And I like the layering too in the songs. The last thing I'll mention is they layer in stuff throughout. Like for instance, the first verse is pretty stripped down. The second one adds the drums and so on and so forth. So they don't get too crazy. There definitely isn't a crescendo that I can remember, but it still does build to a certain extent. And then I will mention the ending is definitely, definitely interesting. I want to hear your thoughts on that because it does do a transition to the next song, but I actually really liked it. So, Steve, what did you think about Shadow of the Day?
Yeah, even though this got to number 15 on the Hot 100, I feel like, pun intended, this song is kind of overshadowed when you kind of take a look at Linkin Park big songs. They've had a lot of big songs, but, when I listen to like radio, whatever it is, I don't know, Lithium or Pop Rocks or anything, I don't hear this one a whole lot, but I should because, we're back here on this record to a ballad, and this one, as you said, just blows it out of the water. It makes me confused how Chester has such a beautiful singing voice and the crazy screaming voice, because here really the beautiful singing voice is what's on display, and as a song, like, this is definitely kind of like a single type song, a song that can play on radio, and for very good reasons. The strings that are in the background add this perfect element to it. Overall, I feel like I feel like it's overshadowed, but it's a top tier Linkin Park song. And were you asking me about the transition, the end of this into what I've done?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's somewhat subtle, but it's one of those where, if you're just listening maybe to the record for the first time, you can say to yourself like, oh, okay, it switched. But I love when the tracks somewhat bleed into another. I'm punning all over the place. Bleed. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Not all over the place, just one. And overshadow. But yeah, it goes into what I've done, which again is one of their gigantic songs. It was the first single off of this album, and I think that this one is the one that fits like the Linkin Park hit mold. And you can tell that from the fact that it became a hit and it's got all the streams. And when you listen to whatever radio that plays this type of music that you listen to, this is one of the songs that is still played. It's piano and guitar driven. It's dark. It's a little spooky. To me, there's one part that's so little that just hits me so hard. It's the tiny little guitar notches right before the chorus. What I've just those. I don't know. They just stand out. Nothing else is going on. It's the transition. I always get drawn into that. There's also they have the mix between the softer verses into the huge Chester chorus. I mean, I think this is their most commercially successful single. It was number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was in the fucking Transformers movie. This one's big and it makes sense. It's good.
Yeah, it is good. It has a big sound to it as well. And, I think that they were strategic with this one. You worked in radio, that when you have a new album, like, does it make sense to start things off with a single that will pull people back in, that will pull the fan base back in and make them interested and make them want to buy the album? And I think that if you put this song out first, then it gives you more of the same. It gives you what you've known about Linkin Park. It gives you more of that. Maybe a little bit more radio friendly, maybe a little bit more
it's the
poppy.
In the end of this album.
But yeah, but that's the beauty of it is, okay, so here's more of the same of what you love. Go buy the album because you're going to love it. And not that this album goes in 50 different directions anyway. Like, I think that even if you bought the album for what I've done, you're still going to be happy with what you got.
Definitely.
But I think it's just such an impactful song. It sounds so good, and it gives you that classic sound that it made sense to be the first single, and probably one of the reasons why so many people just continued with their purchasing of Linkin Park albums. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything I can expand on. Like you said, I guess the only thing is I was a big fan of the backing mix to this song. Instrumentally, the way that they mixed that track with the music, with the musical instruments, the guitar and the drums. I thought it was masterful. Like, I thought that sounded so unique and interesting, and it really added to the enjoyability of the song itself, especially the drums. Like, I thought the drums were amazing in the song. Like, just, they weren't crazy like Travis Barker drums, but they had this, really, really cool rhythm to them that I thought just really made this track. So everything about this made sense to me. And yeah, I was a fan at the time, though. I'll tell you what, Steve, I don't know. This one grew on me a little bit. So I don't think I immediately was enamored by this, because I was, since I was what I was, I said, like, more Linkin Park, sounds exactly the same, whatever. But as I come to appreciate this music a little bit more, like, I see why. And I think that today I'd listen to this song more often than I did maybe back in 2007.
Yeah, and to the point of the drums, I feel like a lot of their songs have, I don't know if the term would be offbeat or just interesting timing. So I think you really got to be clued in. You got to be tight when you're drumming for this band. And Rob does it. He kills it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, then we kind of transitioned to something a little bit different. So, a Hands Held High. This is a Mike track, right? Mike is predominant on this track. I don't know if, I think Chester comes in a little bit.
I mean,
but
I think it's him saying "Amen" in the background.
Is that him, or is that like a gang vocal type of thing?
It's hard to tell.
It is, but predominantly, again, it's a hip hop track. He raps on most of it. It has this really cool, like, military march beats, to the song itself. The track is like an inspirational track. It's an awareness track. It's a political statement track. All those things kind of mix into one. But aside from all of that, all of what he's saying, it's a very well done track musically, because, again, that military march beat to me is interesting. I really like that. I'm a fan of what Mike's able to do with the way that he raps over a track. So I've always been into that. Like I've always wanted more from him on that. And because I didn't listen to too much Linkin Park, I didn't get a lot of it. I only heard what I heard in the songs that were out there, which was a little bit. So I was happy to get a lot more of it here on this one. But I also thought the melody to this was right in line with what I wanted to hear, especially at the end when they layered in that amen with the lyrics on top of it and the backing track too. They really come up with a great mix at the end that caught my attention. So while I don't know if this is going to be like this was as super powerful as some of the other tracks we've talked about so far, I definitely think it had its charm, and I was a fan.
Yeah, I think Chester comes in at the end, the hands held high into a sky so blue. I'm pretty sure that's him now that I'm thinking about it. But I totally agree. The marching band feel to it, basically driven by the snare drum. Mike is spitting out super fast lyrics, and he's trying to say something socially, politically. He's trying to make a statement here. So I feel like a band that has this type of platform, I don't fault them for trying to make a statement. No real chorus to the song other than, maybe the amens, if you think that is, or the thing at the end. The song makes, when I listen to it now, it makes me think, what if what was going on, what if what is going on now politically was happening at this time when they recorded this song? Like what he may have said. And because, there are basically digs, against George Bush and against what they're doing with the military and stuff like that. So I'm curious as to how this would play. I'm sure it would play just fine, but I'm curious as to what the content might be if it was going on now in 2025. But I think the song is super fun. Again, I like that marching band military kind of beat to it. The rap version of it, mix in Chester at the end, very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And then now it's time to get into some hard shit with No More Sorrow. This is some hard shit. Do you know what the instrument is in the beginning? Is it an electric violin, do you think?
I couldn't place it. I know what you're talking about, but I couldn't really place it. Is that such a thing?
It sounded like a string instrument put through an amplifier.
It could just be a guitar effect too.
It's possible. The tone of No More Sorrow is hard and strong. Insane snare drum in the beginning, and then when the full band finally comes in, it feels pretty huge. I mean, there are elements in this one that are very metally. The chorus is really big, and there are a couple of like really strong screams by Chester. Time's come to be Ray, please. My voice actually just hurts like listening to this one, and this is one of those where I say to myself, how does this guy like sing this song a few takes and then like not be dead in his vocal cords? But I love it. I thought this one was really good, and it was cool. We're past the halfway point at this point in time. We're actually past all the singles. So all the singles were tracks 2 to 6. So, the rest of this we can consider album tracks. I thought this one was very strong.
Yeah. So when I heard this, I said to myself, I've heard this before, and I don't know where. And I don't think it was on this album. I want to say that this, like, you hear a song and you've heard it somewhere and you can't place it. And I mean, it could have been any movie trailer. It could have been a wrestling show. Who knows, right? It could have been a video game. Could have been a video game. But I know for sure I've heard this song. And I even typed into Google, I even typed into AI, where have I heard this song No More Sorrow by Linkin Park before? It did not know. It couldn't tell me.
They're like, I don't know who you are.
Well, it could have told me some of the other places that it does live, and it still wouldn't give me anything. I don't even think Reddit was giving me anything specific. So it could have been in my head. Maybe I did hear a piece of this on the album. Who knows? But this is right. It's a metal song. it's great. So, like, I think there are so many good things here that really are right up my alley. The short drum bursts do it for me, though. Like, I think that's one of the big standouts is those just short drum bursts and keeps the energy flowing. And wow, does Chester lean into the metal? Like, he can he probably like really loves that. Like, I think he's like, all right, let's go. And it really showcases what he can do with his voice too. Like, I think that it's one thing to sing a ballad, and he does have a really really great melodic voice for those things, but when he's able to just let loose, to me that's like it's top notch. Like, that really showcases what a unique delivery this guy has. And I'm all for this song. Like, I'm there all the way. So
This is a
even though
hybrid theory callback for sure.
I can't place where this is from, I definitely would come back to this song for sure, because this is right up my alley. Valentine's Day was the next song, and that's not necessarily right up my alley.
Valentine's
I
Day is not up your alley?
It's not, and I'm not sure why. Like, I listened to this one a couple times, and it just there was nothing about it that really made it stand out to me. I thought it was just a fine song, a fine album track, but there was it, I wouldn't go as far as saying I was bored, but it just seemed like there was I don't know, I didn't have anything to sink my teeth into. It just was a song that they sang, and I just waited for it to be over, and that was it. So I tried. Look, I hate when I run into songs like this that I can't say too much about, because it bothers me. We're here to talk about stuff, but sometimes I get stumped. Sometimes I just cannot think of anything that makes sense for me to say, and this is one of them. So I'm sure it's fine. My brain did not connect with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't uh, disagree with you. And this one I kind of forgot a little bit, but it kind of came back to me on the re-listen. Like I like the slower pace of this one, but overall I found it like pretty mid for Linkin Park. There's not really a true chorus, just kind of this explosion of on a Valentine's Day at the end. Also, Valentine's Day didn't really seem like it mattered. It could have been like on St. Patrick's Day. Like, it could have been any day. Like, the lyrics didn't really match to Valentine's Day. I think at this point, it may be worth questioning both of ourselves. Is this a top heavy album? Was it are we'll see as we get to the end, but it may come out to be more of a top heavy album, and this is kind of, we're at number 9 out of 12, so we'll see how we get to the rest. And the next one is In Between. I would say, I thought this one was pretty cool. We get Mike singing instead of rapping, which doesn't happen all that often. It's pretty slow paced, but the thing is, you kind of like feel like this one is building throughout, but it never really comes to a head. Like, it doesn't climax. So it's kind of a mind fuck. But I think this one is still cool. It's not a standout, but I liked In Between. What did you think?
Thought it was an interesting song. I'm not sure how I feel on this one either. Like, this was very interesting, is the word, very unique in a lot of ways. I know I've heard this one elsewhere too, Steve, but I can't place it, probably to a lesser degree than No More Sorrow, but it definitely wasn't on the radio. I can tell you that much. But, you take a song that is, I use the term monotone. It definitely wasn't monotone, because there was a lot, there was, musically, there was stuff going on, but the feeling of it was very, very steady. So you take that from front to back, and that's the song you get. But I think that's the point here. So, not going to take it down because of that, because that's the way I felt. I just don't know if I just don't know maybe if I got the point of the song. I feel like I understand what it was, and I understand what they were trying to do. And even though sometimes I gravitate towards more creative approaches and songs like this, I still don't think this one really just was what I wanted from a Linkin Park song at this point in time. Like, maybe we're spoiled. Look, again, like I hate to be the guy saying, ah, man, this time in the album, it's just no, it's hit or miss, because I don't think that's always the case. But I figure out couldn't figure out this one. So maybe with time it'll grow on me. But first like 5, 6, 7 listens, I thought it was an interesting song that I may not come back to as often.
Yeah. I feel that way again a lot about the kind of the end of the album. Is In Pieces any better?
I'll go to my notes here. So I think so. I think so. I think for me, like In Pieces was a little bit back to form. I think that you go back to a lot of the things that I've already pointed out on this album that I really liked. Everything from a great backing track to the song itself. Great lyrical performance here. The melody is on point. No real other standouts that I could really point my finger to. But I think that just sonically, listening to it, it was more pleasing to the ear than maybe the last two tracks, and I could find myself listening to this one a little bit more often because of that. So back to form for me, not necessarily a highlight on the album, but I was into it.
Yeah, I think the like the DJing and the electronics on this one are very catchy. But again, this is one that's like again, it gives that feeling that it's building, but it doesn't ever get really big. It doesn't get big, it doesn't explode, it doesn't climax. But I still feel like it's a good song to have here at number 11. I still enjoyed it. I think it's pretty good. But again, I'm starting to think that the top heavy thing is what I'm going with for this record. And my opinion is really not going to be swayed by this last song. I don't know if it is for you. The Little Things Give You Away. This song, I think I completely forgot upon my history, my nostalgia with this record. Maybe it's that it's a long song. It's over 6 minutes. Maybe it's just kind of this mechanical vibe that it has to it. Like, I'm not sure, but I don't know. This one just didn't do it for me. It was probably maybe it was just the last song on the album and I didn't listen to it that much, which doesn't make a lot of sense because I do like a lot of last tracks. But for me, this may actually be my least favorite on the whole album.
Yeah, I think this one's a little bit too abstract for me. I think that's I think it's the way I'm going to go. That's what I wrote down, and this was another one that I I had a hard time thinking through what I wanted to say, but what I just kept coming back to is, wow, am I pretty bored by this song? It's maybe a little bit too artsy, maybe a little bit too out there. All I want from Linkin Park, and they're able to get complex with the things they do and still sound great. But this song kind of goes in 100 different directions at one time, and I'm not sure that that's what I want to hear. So yeah, I kind of feel the same way as you, Steve. Like
It's
I
kind of
don't
a bummer because
understand.
this album was very, very, very strong, and it didn't end super strong.
I don't think it did. I don't think it did. I think that there are so many other songs that eclipse these, but I was hoping for the best. It didn't quite get there.
Well, that's it. That's Minutes to Midnight. 12 tracks. What's next?
I don't know what to do next. I figured we would maybe just have a nice conversation, maybe talk about, I don't know, the weather.
Have a nice sherry, a port.
Yeah. Yeah, nice
Put a cap
ports
on the
or
evening.
yeah. Right. What else will we do? You know what I mean? Oh, that's right. We're going to do ranking it. This is everybody's favorite segment of the show. I'm going to bring that back. I'm going to get a little bit more showy with this, Steve. I think I reeled it back in, but let's throw that reel back out. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time in the show we're going to get into ranking it. That is where we rank our top 3 favorite songs off the album in order, 3, 2, 1, with absolutely positively no honorable mentions, except for when there has to be, which I will be still protesting, but that's okay. Steve, You always take it first. Would you like to go first this time? You have the option.
I'll take it. Sure. Yeah, I'll maintain the rules here and stick to no honorable mentions. Although I'd have one if you were curious.
If you had one, what would it be?
If I had one, it would be leave out all the rest. But henceforth, there too, I do not have one. So I'll go with my number 3, which is the first track, the first full track off this album, Given Up. I feel like this one kicks off the record with a huge bang. I love the claps. It is fantastic. Tell me what the fuck is wrong with me. I love that one. Number 2, I'm going to slow it down a little bit, just like Linkin Park does. I'm going to go, hard song, slow song. Number 2 is Shadow of the Day. It is a fantastic ballad. We already went through and gushed over it. So that's my number 2 on this record. And number 1, I think I'm going with Bleed It Out. And, this wasn't like completely chalk. All 3 of those were singles. But I think Bleed It Out gets me the most pumped up. It's a song, the track that I most enjoy and want to keep listening to on this record.
Well, we're gonna be somewhat close on this one, Steve. So I'm gonna go with Given Up as my number 3. This one got 1 star. We've kind of already been through how I feel about this song.
1 star kind of sounds bad.
No, 8. There's songs that get
no
stars.
A star.
Yeah, there's 1 star is you're above the line. You're headed in the right direction.
It sounds like an Uber rating, like 1 star out of 5.
Yeah, I see where it could sound like that, but I think you kind of just have to know the ranking system to understand better.
It's a very complex system. Most of us are still trying to learn it.
Someday we'll document it and put it out there on Google. Number 2, Steve, is going to be Bleed It Out. There's no denying this one. It is just a supercharged, fast-paced, just great song that I want to listen to over and over again. So Bleed It Out, number 2. And then look, I mean, it's not upbeat, it's not a party song, but it's my favorite. It's Shadow of the Day. There's just no shortage of emotion with this one. And I am here all day long for that melody of this song. Man, does it keep me coming back every single time I hear this one. So big fan of Shadow of the Day. I think it's the best track on the album. And,
Chris,
I left out What I've Done.
Me too.
But I don't know if I have a good reason why. I just like these 3 songs better. So,
Chris, this is quite unique. I mean, I think it's happened before in the history of the show. We've done over 300 episodes, but we had the same 3 songs in ranking it. That does not happen often. Like, I'm sure it's happened, but it does not happen often.
I don't even know what it takes for it to happen. Like, I feel like I don't know. Like, I don't have, look, those are my 3. So, I mean, maybe we finally see eye to eye on something here, which is interesting. I know that you're a bigger fan of this band than I am, but for us to be so close on things, I think it really just kind of goes.
Good is good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it goes to the fact that this is a good band and they put out good music. And like them or not, down to the core of what they do is very quality stuff. So if you disagree, I'd love to hear about it. But ultimately, I don't really know. I'm not sure what that argument would be.
I don't know either. I have a little setlist game. You want to play a setlist game?
I would like to play the setlist game.
Okay. Option number 1, we can do their tour that they're on right now, which was in September in Seattle. Option number 2 is we can look at the last tour, the last show that they did with Chester, which was in 2017, or we could do both. What would you like to do?
Let's do both.
All right. So September 24th, 2025 in Seattle. It's called the From Zero. That's the name of their new record. From Zero World Tour. They did 27 songs. How many songs and what songs did they do from Minutes to Midnight? Keep in mind, They have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. They have 8 total albums.
I think they did. I want to say that they did. I'm just going to go with my gut on this one. I'm going to say 4 songs.
Yeah, it is less than 4 songs. So now it is time for you to go in and see which songs do you think they did.
So I was teetering on 3, but do I get a number?
It is only 2.
2. That's important for this part too, because I need to know. So this is from the 2017 or the most recent one? Did you say?
This is just a month ago.
Okay. So they
with their new singer.
They only did 2 off of this with the new singer. I think that they did Shadow of the Day.
Nope.
Wow. All right. So then they probably did What I've Done.
Correct. Check.
And I mean, let's go with Chalk. I'll go with Bleed It Out.
Correct. Yes. Bleed It Out seems to be a setlist closer for some of their shows. Yes, they only did What I've Done and Bleed It Out. Their sets, if you look at setlist.fm, they're like separated into some like acts and scenes and some weird things. Again, not having seen the show, I'm not exactly sure what it means, but they only did those 2 for Minutes to Midnight. So let's go back in time to 2017. It was July 6th, 2017. It was Chester's last show with Linkin Park. It was in Birmingham, England, and they did 26 songs. They were on the One More Light tour, so that was their newest record at the time. So I'll start at your previous guess of 4 and ask you over under.
What was the date?
July 6th, 2017.
Okay, so that was well clear of this one. Several albums since then.
Oh, yeah. They still had 7 albums under their belt.
I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go with 3.
Yeah, 3 is correct. So let's see if you can get all 3. Are you going to guess the exact same ones you did last time?
I mean, yeah, I think they probably did What I've Done
and Bleed It Out.
I'm gonna go with What I've Done and Bleed It Out for sure.
Okay, let's see if you can get the last one. One guess to rule them all.
Look, I mean, I'd love to go Shadow of the Day, but I'm doubting myself on that one because I feel like there might be a reason why he doesn't do that song. And however, when you're on a tour in 2017, you kind of want to play the hits for people. And why they would not play Shadow of the Day would be puzzling to me. I'm just going to go with it. Shadow of the Day.
Yes, for the second time, you are incorrect. They played the other ballad from Minutes to Midnight, which is...
Does that leave out all the rest?
Correct, yeah. Yes. Leave out all the rest, What I've Done, and Bleed It Out. Bleed It Out, closing the show out. That was a fun setlist game. Well, I'm surprised, too.
There must be a reason. There's got to be a reason why he doesn't want to play that song.
I mean, I did not dive into like every song over the years and years and years, but they didn't do it that night.
Look, bands have, you know as well as I do, bands have songs that they just won't do or don't like to do live for any particular reason. Like, I don't know about pop punk bands or even like Blink. Like, do they have songs that they don't like to do or won't do? Have they come out and said that?
I mean, I know other bands. Like, I know Mest will not do What's the Dealio. I know that the Ataris will not do, the song about his ex-girlfriend. I can't think of it. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, for a long time, like even going further back, like I know Pearl Jam would not do Black live, which I could not believe. Like that's such an amazing song, but they wouldn't do it. So, so maybe that falls into a similar category, but still surprising. But I think I did okay. Even though I think that one was fairly easy, except for the Shadow of the Day trip up of the day.
I mean, it's such a good song, so I understand why you thought they'd play it.
Yeah, and it's my favorite. It's my number 1. So I wanted to be in there, but I could not will it. Well, Steve, we did it. We got through this album. So I think You may have touched on it before. I'm not qualified enough to say this, but I think you are. How does this album stack up against the other Linkin Park albums that you're familiar with?
Well, here's the thing. If you look at their entire discography, I said it earlier, their first three records are, and I'm not including Reanimation and Collision Course. I'm taking those out because Reanimation is a remix album. If you look at their original albums, Hybrid Theory, Meteora, Minutes to Midnight, these are three monumental, fucking amazing albums. And everything after that is subpar, sub those three, without a doubt. So Minutes to Midnight is immediately in the top three. If you were to ask my personal opinion, I kind of think let's just take a look at the big songs. Hybrid Theory has One Step Closer, In the End, Paper Cut. Meteora has Somewhere I Belong, Faint, Numb, Breaking the Habit. These two are close for the number one. I think maybe Hybrid Theory edges it out. Meteora is number two. I think that Minutes to Midnight is the absolute solid number three Linkin Park album.
Okay. Well, I would love to hear what you guys out there think too. Anybody that is listening to the show, let us know on the socials. Let us know in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, definitely would join, because this is a conversation that I'd love to have. You know, where does this album rank amongst all of the other Linkin Park albums? And
also rank your Limp Bizkit albums. Sure.
Maybe. I think that $3 Bill, y'all, is the one. I would love to debate that one too. So maybe someday we'll do some Limp Bizkit shows here, Steve, and talk about those albums. I actually never owned Chocolate Starfish. My brother. So that was another one where he got the album first, and it made no sense for me to buy it again. So
yeah, you had access to it.
I got screwed over. I got screwed.
I don't think that's one that you needed to have owned.
I think you're right. I actually, when I listened to it, I'm like, yeah, this is weird. Like, okay, here's your CD back. So maybe I didn't get screwed.
Next month coming, a full month of Limp Bizkit album spotlights.
Limp Bizkit. Where's the month that starts with L?
None.
B?
Nope.
We can't do any alliteration with that at all.
It's Limp Bizkit Light Savings Time.
That's no. That's no? Actually no. That's.
I was trying.
Well, it's a good try. And I give you a lot of credit for it. But again, Steve, we got through it. So thank you guys for joining us for Rocktober. It's been a blast so far. I also want to
short and sweet. This is it.
I absolutely. I also want to thank those of you again that are Patreon peeps. I don't know, peeps is the wrong word, but you guys that gave us some suggestions for what this show should be. We're going to continue to do that with things that we do moving forward. So keep your eyes open and your ears open for opportunities to be a part of the show by giving those suggestions and making us talk about the things that you want to hear.
That's right. Make sure and join our Patreon. Support the show. Go to patreon.com/HSNEpod. Give a shout out to our patrons: Ashley, Jason, Sam, Chris W., Nick, Chris P., Punkish Dad's friends, Punk Rock Mom, Jeff, and Tom. All you guys, thank you so much for your input on Rocktober. Anything else, Chris, that we need to plug? I forget.
As always, check out our socials. HSNEpod.com is our hub. You can get to any of our socials there. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, all the socials, especially the Discord. We have some amazing conversations about the show and also about just music in general. It's a great community, and definitely would love to see more of you guys out there join.
That's right. And if you join the Patreon, you get a discount code to our shop. You can go to hsnepod.com and you can buy merch. And Christmas is right around the corner. Hanukkah's right around the corner. Kwanzaa's right around the corner. Get some gifts for the holidays. Get some HSNE hoodies and mugs and shirts and hats and all that good stuff. You could also find out through Patreon what is coming up, next month, because Rocktober is over. November is on the way. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods, dope your rock cans, and blast the pop punk.
It's Dragon Wagon.